What's up, Military Millionaires? I'm your host today, David Pere, and I'm here with Paul Mackiewicz, who is a digital marketing, I guess, expert would be probably the best word there. He's an entrepreneur, Army veteran who's built a pretty cool digital marketing platform. And we were talking about the dashboard beforehand, and it's actually right in line with kind of what I was looking to do with some stuff. So really cool to be able to bring on somebody who's not necessarily the real estate side of things and more the business side of things, because I am enjoying those conversations. And digital marketing, I think, is something that no matter what you're doing in this world, right, it is so important to have a digital presence and digital reviews and digital like content and everything else. And I think that's honestly probably more important in a lot of aspects for business than almost anything else, because if you're not in front of your end user, then your business is going to really struggle. So anyway, Paul, thanks for joining us today, brother. Welcome to the Military Millionaire Podcast, where we teach service members, veterans, and their families how to build wealth through personal finance, entrepreneurship, and real estate investing. I'm your host, David Pere, and together with my co-host, Alex Felice, we're here to be your no BS guides along the most important mission you'll ever embark on, your finances.
Vehicle 1, you're clear to depart friendly lines.
Roger, Vic 1, Oscar Mike. What's up, guys? Today I want to give you a quick shout out from our sponsor, me, and the No BS Guide to Military Life. So I just wanted to touch on this real quick because I don't mention this book enough, and I'm not necessarily trying to sell it to you. You can go download the book for free on my website. There'll be a pop-up that shows up and says, hey, join our email list. You can get the book for free, PDF, boom. You can also order the hard copy. I'm a fan of how the hardcover came out. I think it came out really nice, and the soft cover. But this book was written for anybody, military veteran alike, who wants to learn about how to build wealth using military benefits and military just opportunities to your advantage. But I will say that it was definitely written with the idea of somebody who is just joining the military, and it kind of goes chronologically through what I think would most benefit you learning at an early age, like your thrift savings plan all the way up through VA loan, building wealth with real estate, and then personal finance, entrepreneurship, personal development, growth, the journaling, goals, and transitioning out of the military, right? This was everything I learned while I was deciding whether to stay in, go reserves, get out. I went reserves. And so this book is written with you in mind. It's not a sales push. It's an actual like 250, 260 page book that is here to help you as a service member, veteran, learn how to build wealth. So go check it out. You can download it for free or go to Amazon or go to FromMilitaryToMillionaire.com/book. I hope it helps. Let me know.
Yeah, man. Super pumped to be here.
Yeah. So why don't you give a little bit of background as far as like how you got into the marketing sphere?
Yeah, I've got one of those awesome, just crazy meandering career stories. So basically, I did my time in the Army. I did my 3 years, got out and moved to Atlanta, mostly because I'm originally from Buffalo, New York. And the last thing I want to do is go back up to the Northeast and deal with cold weather and all that. So when I went to Atlanta, I had picked up golf a lot when I was in the military. My sergeant was, he was a big golfer, and we both ended up on, some broke dick PT because of some surgery that we had right around the same time. And so we were playing a lot of speed golf. So we'd all line up, we'd take our balls, you'd grab 3 clubs, your 3-wood, your 7-iron and a putter. You all rip your drives, and it wasn't how many strokes it took you to get in, it was how fast you played. And so amazing PT, absolutely loved it. Realized I was quite skilled. Like I'd always played around a little bit. So I got to Atlanta and I became a golf pro, and I did that for about 2 years. It was great. It was the best job in the world. I just, couldn't make any money doing it. So, unless you're playing on Sundays, it's a tough profession. So I was giving lessons, running junior camps, teaching old ladies how to putt, fun stuff like that. And it was great. But eventually I got back into the business world. I worked with Dick's Sporting Goods for a long time. So I was in the retail side. And after that, I was playing golf with a guy. It's a common theme with my career, is playing golf with a guy. And he was opening up a new business, which was indoor golf simulators, driving range, bar, restaurant, kind of like this big entertainment center. And you need someone with some business experience to run it. So he brought me in. And it was great. It was my first kind of like step into entrepreneurship here. figuring out digital marketing, how do you fill a bar? How do you get people to, join your golf leagues? How do you, what type of things can you do to differentiate yourself from all these other locations and build a business that way? And we were very successful. We nearly doubled the size of his business in about a year.
Wow.
So, and it was all through, digital marketing efforts and, streamlining some areas of the business. And I loved it. That's what my education was in entrepreneurship, organizational management, and marketing management. So I actually was getting to utilize some of those things, getting out of the retail side. Did that for a few years. And that was back when I moved to New York and decided, I'm done with this cold. I was ready to do something for myself. So I loaded up and moved to New Mexico, and I was playing golf, matched up with this guy. He had this idea for a scooter rental company, and I was like, yeah, man, that's a great idea. So I invested some money. We bought about 25 scooters, and I opened 5 locations throughout New Mexico. And I would show up, little pop-up tent, throw my scooters out there, and so. At that time, I was getting these like 50cc scooters. So a little bit more like Vespa size, not quite, not like the little, bird scooters So a little bit more robust. But the reason that New Mexico was perfect for it is because the scooter laws there are very lax. So, I could rent them to just about anybody, buy a scooter for, $450, rent it out for $80 a day. I was making profit in 2 weeks. So wow. A really cool business model. And I did that for a while, but it was kind of I like to think those are kind of like my dark days. Like I was off there just doing it by myself, just hustling, figuring it out. And I had always wanted to live in New York City. Growing up in Buffalo, that's kind of the city to us, that in Toronto. So I got a job opportunity to go and work with a digital marketing startup in New York, and I was probably like 15 to 20, somewhere in there as far as hires in the office. And a year and a half later, we had over 200 people in that office. Wow. And, an explosion of a company. It was called Main Street Hub. And what they did was reputation management and social media management for small brick and mortar businesses. So in that, I was the golf guy. I had all these golf courses that I was managing their online reputation.
There's a theme here.
Yes, there's definitely a theme here. So if anybody, it's one of the nice parts. I incorporate that into what we do now. I just had a client hit his 1-year anniversary. I sent him a sleeve of golf balls and a gift card to the Los Angeles local courses. And, it gives me a reason to go out and hang out with them and play some golf and, finding those aspects and those passions to incorporate into your entrepreneurial journey, I think is real important.
Yeah.
So getting to New York, I was a really solid sales guy, and I was doing trade shows, about like 30 a year. I was traveling all around and selling online presence management and social media management to all these different businesses. And it was mostly like restaurants for me, golf courses. I had one. We would find our niche. I had one friend who she loved scuba. And so she would be like working with all these scuba centers and things like that. So it was a cool business because all these businesses were coming to this realization of like, okay, I have to be online. Like I have to be doing something. And so finding those pain points and those needs as far as online awareness of a business, it was perfect timing for all that. That company eventually got sold to GoDaddy. And so those CEOs though and founders did very well for themselves. But I went to Miami. My girlfriend at the time, now wife, got a job offer down there. I had my New York experience, was ready for some beach life. So went to Miami, and I started working with a digital marketing company down there that more focused on higher end clients, website development, and SEO. So their largest vertical was attorneys, which makes sense. Lots of competition. Your website is very important because when you're an attorney, your brand is you. Yep. It's your name on that law firm. So I started getting a little bit more of like a full scope of what it means to be a successful business marketing online. Seeing SEO, social, reputation, business listings, website. Getting into the paid ads. So I was getting this big picture, but I was basically seeing in the market that there weren't any companies that were really fulfilling that big picture. You had SEO companies or you had website development companies, social media management companies, or we're expecting businesses in-house to somehow find the time to do 7, 8, 9 different aspects of managing an online presence by themselves. And, on top of running their business, on top of, keeping the books, on top of like, how do you do that as a business owner? And this has now become this incredibly huge part of running a business is like, what's your Facebook? And if you're not posting on Facebook, what's the point of having one?
Yeah.
So in coming out here to Los Angeles a few years ago, with that company that I was with in Miami, I opened up their West Coast office, and I was serving as the VP of client success. And so I was basically, for the most part, like eating shit all day for the bad work that they would do. And which was fine. I mean, I volunteered for that job. I said, we have some holes in our business here. We really need to clean up. And so I eventually got poached and had another marketing company say, hey, we love what you're doing. Come over here and work with us. And it's from kind of a past relationship that I had. I was with them for about a year and then said, this is bullshit. I'm tired of making money for other companies. I think it's, I had that entrepreneurial bug between, seeing that business in Buffalo and my scooter company in New Mexico, and knew that, hey, I can put together something that satisfies a lot of needs for these business owners, do it in a much more cost efficient way. With all these companies having all of these different people, like having to have your website person talk to your SEO person and your social person to figure out what your blog guy is writing, and being able to pull that together. I wanted to build a cohesive business that was able to handle all of those different aspects and track everything from a singular hub. And so that's really where #smart started, was like, let's find a smarter way to do this, to be more efficient, to be more streamlined, and to get better benefits in the end, because it's more of a synergistic relationship between all these different aspects of your online presence, as opposed to, piecing something together and having like a Frankenstein, online experience for your clients that, just doesn't have continuity across the board. So that's our big claim to fame. And I survey my clients every month and ask them, like, what's your favorite part of what we do? And they're like, dude, you make this organized. You make this easy. You make this, instead of being this kind of vague, I need to be on social media thing, like, you show me why my blog matters to my social and why that, impacts my SEO and how this all works together. And then we come in at various price points. We have some clients that are like, hey, do everything for me, build me the site, do it all. Yeah. And those are awesome, because we're able to kind of make everything work together. And then I have some clients that just say, just organize this for me, like, let me use your dashboard as kind of my hub, and I want to do it. I want to be the person reflecting our business online. And it works really well that way. Like, those clients are also awesome, because now they're organized and they're able to control all of these different messages that are going on online about them, in an efficient and timely manner. That's not adding 20 hours to their to-do list for the month. It's only adding like 1 or 2. So I think that's the biggest part of like my entrepreneurial journey, is like pulling all these different pieces from these different experiences that I've had, kind of bringing it all together, and then finding a way to provide value at the end.
Yeah, golf, and then digital marketing. No, so you're the guy. You're the reason that people say networking on the golf course is where it's at.
Yeah, you know what? I've always just been like a decent golfer. Like, I wish I was better. I wish I got to play more. But end of the day, like, I love to play. So how could I build a career that also allows me to, get out on a course all the time? Because there's nothing better than being on a golf course. You're out in nature. It's beautiful. You're drinking beers. You're hanging out. Like, is there a bad aspect to engaging in some business out on a course?
I'm pretty terrible at golf, but I make a wonderful, like, drunk golf carter. So, I'm phenomenal as the driver. I just, if you see me ramping the golf cart, don't worry about it. But, no, I enjoy golf. I've definitely thought about taking lessons here in the last little bit, because I'm thinking about, I need some kind of a hobby in my life. And I'm like, it might be a good one to learn. I don't know. So yeah, I totally get it. But dude, that's a cool story. And I like that you you did exactly like you said. You just kind of bounced around trying to figure out exactly what it was you wanted to be and where you wanted to go. And then, you found it, right? So I had all the experience, then finally said, hey, why don't I do this on my own? I'm going to build my own thing. And as we've talked about before, I think digital marketing is like incredibly important. I mean, the entire reason that anybody knows I exist is through content, right? So if it was, in fact, I was on a podcast yesterday. I recorded a podcast and he asked, okay, if you kind of like the undercover billionaire, he was like, if you got dropped off with a car, a phone, and $100, like, how would you figure it out? And I gave kind of two answers, but one of those, and the first one was essentially I would take like 48 hours with that phone and make as many TikTok and Instagram reels as humanly possible. Because once you get a platform, you can do anything. It's crazy.
Yeah. And to answer that question myself, I would sit there, I would Google, personal injury attorney near me. I'd look at the one that had the shittiest reviews and, I knew was losing business online. And I would go knock on their door and say like, okay, let's fix this, because I'm always looking at the return, because that's the important thing, right? Like, It doesn't matter if you're posting 50 times on social media. If you're not generating revenue from that activity, then it's all worthless anyway. And so when I'm always working backwards with a client, like there's actually a tire company I was just meeting with yesterday. And he's like, we really don't have any money for social media ads or for, PPC ads. And I said, okay, I totally get that. How many tires does somebody usually get? 4 tires repaired or replaced, or is it 2? And he's like, oh, it's almost always 4. I'm like, okay, great. What's your cost on 4 tires? He's like, about $175 is what the client pays us. We operate on about a 50% margin. I'm like, okay, great. So if we do quick math, every new client that you get is about a $300 profit for you. Like, that makes sense, right? Like, numbers wise. And he's like, yeah. Said, and do they come once or do they come twice, 3 times? Like, what's your loyalty like? It's like, oh, we always see him again. So I'd say at least 2, maybe 3 times over the lifetime of a client. I'm like, great. So we could ballpark pretty accurately that acquiring one new customer for you generates about $600 of profit in your pocket. And I was like, so if we look at Google PPC right now, if your ad is seen by 100 people and only 10% of those people actually contact you in some way, and of those 10% people that contact you, 1% or one of those 10 people becomes a client, you would have to have a cost per click less than $6 per click, and that would be profitable for you. I said, right now, average for used tires in Buffalo, New York is 75 cents per click, which means this could be very profitable for you long term. But it's all about like working backwards and looking at that ROI and kind of building that story for them. For attorneys, it's super easy. I mean, most of my attorneys, and that's one of the reasons why I work with attorneys and doctors generally, is because their price point is so much higher. Like, signing one car accident is, $10,000 in their pocket. And so it's real easy to kind of work numbers backwards and build landing pages that are converting at, at least 30% rate. And then, I even talk to their intake people and say like, okay, you got 10 calls. How many of those people are now clients, 2 months later, and, figure out those numbers for them. That's the fun part of digital for me, is like showing people the possibilities. Like, this guy said, we can't afford any PPC ads. And I said, you give me $300 in PPC ads, I can generate you $1,200 in profit. Like, not just $1,200 in business, like $1,200 in profit based off of your, average closing numbers and things like that. But that's where it gets fun. I mean, and so many business owners are kind of locked into this, like, oh, I can't spend money on advertising, or, I'm afraid of digital because I don't know what I'm doing with it. And so when you kind of just like piece it together, it makes a lot more sense for them.
It's the scary part of business where you throw money into the world and you like fundamentally, it's probably going to come back, but it's nerve wracking. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we're at that point right now. We own a hotel and we finally got all the rooms renovated, and it had no website, no SEO when we bought it. So we got the website built and SEOs, everything's live as of yesterday. And so, we're basically starting from scratch, which is good because it means we can do whatever we want with it. But now we're like, okay, we're going to run ads. And one of the guys, there's 3 of us in the group. And one of the guys is like, ooh, we're not really profitable right now. I don't know, like, can we afford to run ads? And the other guy basically summed my thought up. And he's like, if $1 brings in $3, then I'm going to throw $1 million at this son of a bitch until it's bringing us money. And I'm like, that's pretty much where I'm at, is like, it works. It takes tweaking, it takes time, it takes knowledge, it takes all of that, but nobody would be running ads on Google if it did not pay them more to run those ads on Google. It's like anything else.
100%. And I also, I kind of, I like to build things backwards, because if I have an end goal in place, I can, build out a strategy for it. One of the big things that I run into in like my initial conversations with businesses is, and we saw this explode over COVID because so many people are making more buying decisions online. My business has actually tripled in size, about to quadruple in size in this year alone.
Wow.
And one of the big reasons is because, when COVID hit, everyone was home. How were they making those buying decisions?
Yeah.
There was no foot traffic. There is no, my friend told me to check you out. There were no backyard barbecues for me to say, like, who's your lawyer? My wife got in a car accident. I don't know who to go to. Like, all of that was going on online. And so, with that, the first thing I always come in and do is like, let's see how you look like versus your competitors. And so many of these businesses never even considered, like, am I answering reviews on Yelp? Am I pushing positive people to Yelp? I'm not always a huge fan of Yelp, but here's the thing. Like, if you have an iPhone, just hold it up and say, hey, Siri, find me a grocery store in the area, find me a dentist in the area, find me a chiropractor in the area. All that data is pulled from TripAdvisor and Yelp. So Apple doesn't have their own review management system. So where are they going to pull like some sort of quantitative numbers on like how I rank these businesses? And the fact that Apple piggybacks off Yelp immediately makes Yelp this incredibly important tool, regardless of what you think about it.
Yeah.
Google has their own system, Google Maps, Google Home, all those things. Mine's listening to me here. So, but, and voice search, voice search is getting more and more popular. It's grown, exponentially over the last, 2 years, and even COVID exacerbated that. Yeah. So, you have to make sure that you've got those kind of pieces in place first. If you're a 1.5 on Google or Yelp or anything, don't run ads. All you're doing is you're promoting, hey, look at us, and then they get there, they look at you, and then they go, oh, the guy across the street is twice as better as you. So thanks for your advertising dollars. It's now sending me over there. So, building out that strategy, like, first, make sure you look good, make sure you have great images up, Google business listings, you can list all your products and services right on there, and then have those links go directly to that product page or that service page, contact phone numbers everywhere where it's got to be. Your social media has to, at least look good, whether you have any followers or anybody doing anything, show some activity, make sure that your graphics look solid. So there's some continuity in the page, and I'm not like getting to it and looking like it's, a solo operation of somebody like taking selfies in the mirror. And, that's not going to make me, help me make that buying decision. So, yes, ads are amazing and they're very important, everything along those lines. But, first, clean yourself up. I'd say, go get some professional photos done, answer some reviews. It blows my mind that so many businesses just refuse to answer their reviews.
Yeah.
If somebody came up to you in person and was like, hey, you were amazing, thank you for that service, I had a great experience, would you just like turn around and walk away? Yeah, right. It's like, I'm like, now, so not only are you doing it that way, but it's basically like you're doing it on stage in front of 10,000 people, because that, digitally, that's basically what you're doing. Like, and even with a negative review, say somebody jumps online and says, you suck, you were a horrible experience. Would you just allow that person to say that to you and then allow 10,000 people to look at them and just watch you not respond? Like, chances are, screw that guy. You're probably not getting them back. Maybe you are, maybe you can rectify that situation, and you should always try as a business owner, but at least answer it, acknowledge it, say, hey, we're so sorry you had that experience. That's not us. We want to make this right. Give us, contact us at, whatever phone number, shoot us an email at whatever. We want to know about your situation. We want to fix this, because, that person's probably gone, but the next 10,000 people that are going to read this review, you've just reformed that entire narrative around like, this is a super shitty business to, oh, this is a business that actually cares what people say about them, and they value their customers or their clients. And, I now have a complete different emotional response to that review. And so businesses just leaving that stuff out there and like hoping that, magically it doesn't impact their business. Like, it's insane to me. And the real rough ones here, I'll just tell you one quick story here. This is some of these businesses that are maybe more like a traditional business or have some history in an area, or they've been around a long time and they've been getting dragged through the mud on Yelp or on Google for 10, 15 years now. And they've never even claimed it, never looked at it, never like just buried their head in the sand in it. I've had so many of those businesses coming to us in the last year, the last few months specifically, because now they're like, hey, come help us run some digital ads. And I look on Yelp and I'm like, well, you've got 200 reviews on Yelp and you're a 2-star. So before you do anything, like that's not going to fix itself overnight. Do you realize how many 5-star reviews you need to get to offset 200 reviews with a 2-star? Like you need 400 or 500 reviews to fix that. Like, so if there's anything I could tell a business now is like, pay attention to it now, because one, you don't want to put yourself in that position long-term. 2, if you're a business that's in that position, you are not going to fix that real quick. Like you're going to have to put some serious effort into repairing that. The analogy I use a lot of times is you're basically a 500-pound man who just went, well, I'm having some heart issues. Like maybe I shouldn't eat those bonbons all those years. Like you're going to have to go to the gym for a long, long time and change your diet and fix all these things about you. So go into that knowing like you're probably gonna have to spend some money. You're probably gonna have to put in some work. You're gonna have to do something because there's zero chance that is what's a good way to not use a double negative here. There's zero chance that is not going to impact your business. Yeah. In a negative way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so just helping business owners kind of realize these things and quantify some reasonable solutions that are efficient and timely. It's what I love doing. It's really, really fun to have a business owner and talk to them, 2-3 months after I've worked with them. And they'll be like, wow, like I didn't know it could have this big an impact on my business. Yeah. That's really where a lot of the personal, satisfaction and that I get from just doing what I do. And I enjoy it. It's fun talking to business owners all day, like pulling their passions out, getting them to think about who they are as a business. The last thing that I would kind of touch on with this point is what you do online doesn't have to be some like fake bullshitty, like avatar of yourself. Like be authentically you. One of the questions I love asking people is, like if you could be a celebrity online, if your online persona was a celebrity, who would it be? Because that gives me like a real great image of like, okay, cool. Like this, that guy's funnier. The best one I got was like a few weeks ago, this guy was like, I'd love to be like Paul Rudd online. I want to be kind of funny, kind of quirky, kind of, I'm like, I can work with that. Like I can make some memes that, would be Paul Rudd approved. I can like, come up with some concepts and some imagery around things like that, or some content that, can lead people to be engaged and like kind of give you that Paul Rudd eye. Even with like one of my doctors, his social media was getting a little stagnant because you can only say like, I do this, I have good reviews. I like, you can only say that so many times. Yeah. And so I drag stuff out of them. That's one of the most fun parts about what I do in my meetings is like, what do you like? Like not only what differentiates you from that other business or, what are your value propositions, but what do you like? And this guy, after, a good 20 minutes of being like, yeah, I know you like being a doctor. That's great. I know you like helping people. That's great. Like all doctors do. What do you like? And he's like, well, I like Star Trek. I'm like, awesome. I can work with Star Trek. Yeah. He's like, I like Doctor Who. I'm like, fantastic. I was like, how about Harry Potter? Like, what else can I run with? Like, what else can I do here? And so like, I drag that out of him. And it's amazing though, because now we do a Harry Potter meme and this guy gets twice as many likes and he's like, I get it. Like now
resonate with me.
Yeah. It's my job to make you look likable, and people like Harry Potter, man. And it's okay for you to like Harry Potter, and it's okay for you to tell the world that
it doesn't
like Harry
make you
Potter.
A worse doctor because you like witches and magic.
yeah.
It's one of my favorite things about like my brand, like the whole military millionaire thing. It's gonna make me sound like a prick, but I love the fact that like because it's all service members, I can be like brutally honest, and I can say like, I can say things that most businesses would be like, ooh, we'd never say that online. Like I had a post at one point on Instagram that was literally just like something to the effect of like, suck it the fuck up. And it was like, nobody cares about all this other crap. Like just go do it. And it got, really good feedback. And I'm like, yeah, I love the fact that like I can post random stuff like that. And people are like, this is awesome. Whereas like, if I was a dentist, I couldn't be like, oh, your tooth hurts? Well, quit being a little bitch.
Well, here's the thing. You could.
You know what? It's valid if it's done the right way, right?
Yeah, and if you frame it the right way, if you find a way to take that message and be like, hey, don't. Or I would actually probably spin it the other way. I'd be like, we know you're tough, bro. We know you take MMA classes. We know you're going to the gym. It's all right. Your tooth hurts. Give us a call. Yeah, like you don't got to be that tough.
We won't tell your friends.
Yeah, we won't tell your friends you're a little bitch, but just come on in. We'll even give you the laughing gas too, so you don't feel the pain. Like it's okay. Like, but you could play that. I mean, run with that. People love that stuff. I like Marvel. I like Marvel movies. I like Star Wars movies. We post about that all the time. Like and it's not because like I'm expecting some attorney out there to be like, oh, you know what? I like the X-Men too. Like. It's because, that's who we are. Like, be authentically you. There's no problem with being you. And it's really sad to me too. The some businesses are just so afraid of that. We live in this like super fear-based society. Like someone's going to cancel me or somebody's going to, leave me a negative comment. Like, do you know how many negative comments I get? Like hundreds. Yeah. And I know the easy answer is like, don't care, but we all do care. So I know, right?
I troll back sometimes. It's too hard not to. I'm like, oh, I'm going for it. My buddy's like, why do you let him get to you? I'm like, I don't. This just feels really good. Like every now and then I just like drag it through the mud.
Yeah. I like asking people questions that I know that they just don't have the answer to a lot of times with it. So, and I don't necessarily do this for my clients. I do it more on our own social media, but we live in a very rigid society right now where if you're not A, you're B, where there's no nuance. There's, people don't kind of like have those conversations. So one of my big things is personally is just having nuanced conversations and understanding that things are not black and white. The whole world is generally some layer of gray in there. And, people when they're super, held to those convictions or they want to say like, oh, even answering reviews, there's a lot of people that are like, well, no, I don't do it because, I don't want to turn into a pissing contest online. Like you can answer a review without doing that.
I don't know that I've ever I was going to say, nobody's ever responded. I respond to reviews all the time and I've never had anybody like, they already got it out of their system. So
yeah. And that's, what is the negative to responding to a review and pointing out your side? I love it when business owners are proactive about it. There's a bar in New York City that it's this super shit dive bar. And it is what it is. It knows what it is. It's self-aware of what it is. And there's this woman that goes on there and she like posts this review, like the floors were sticky and the drinks were too heavy and And he's like, do you not know where you were on Saturday? Like, we had a band. The name of the band was like "Fucked Up Kitties" or something like that. It's like you're at a dive bar with super like our specials are PBR. Like, why are you concerning yourself? Like, you weren't getting the filet mignon here. Like, you're coming for a wild night with your friends with a sticky floor and PBRs. Like that's like.
It's like going to Dick's restaurant and bitching that they were mean to you.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
bro, you wore a dunce cap that said fat ass. What do you expect?
And what's nice though is now any other future person that goes to that business now has a more clear image of the experience that they're going to have. And if they want that, awesome. Like, come to it. If you don't want that, then don't go there. Like, it's silly to me that so many people feel like they are entitled to their opinion being right. Everyone's entitled to an opinion. Everybody should not, we shouldn't be trying to silence anybody. Like, have an opinion, but it doesn't necessarily mean your opinion is right. And I love it when business owners are proactive in that way. I always think my grandfather was a super cool World War II vet. Like, he was a tanker in World War II. And like, he's an awesome dude. And he was the guy that actually got me playing golf when I was younger. But I still remember this one thing that he always said to me, and I don't even remember why he really said it to me or what the situation was leading up to it. But he said, you aren't what people say about you. You are your reaction to what people say about you.
Yeah.
And it rings so true, and it's really forgotten in today's culture. A lot of times, people identify as this, that, or the other, but really like think of who you are, and then from a marketing standpoint, it's once you're comfortable with like who you are, it's so much easier to broadcast that online, and and to just be authentically you and unapologetically you, and if you get some shit comments, you get some shit comments. Like, who cares? But being comfortable with yourself, not only as a person, but as a business, I think really is kind of what's separating a lot of these businesses out there that are like too afraid to get too active online. And it's very interesting to watch because the writing is on the wall. Like the businesses that are allowing themselves to be comfortable and allowing themselves to stretch outside that box a little bit are seeing more success and seeing more business come from utilizing these different online sources.
Absolutely. All right. So I think we kind of already touched on it, but we didn't use the buzzword. So you want to talk to me a little bit about the zero moment of truth?
Yeah. So ZMOT is, it's a concept that's been out for a while now, but Google coined it right about like 10, 12 years ago now. But the traditional marketing model, which like I'm classically educated in marketing, that's what my degrees are in and all that stuff. So, but a lot of that stuff is also straight out the window at this point. So, but the classic marketing model was always like a 3-step process. There's like awareness. I see your commercial. I now know of you as a business. I like using like laundry detergent or breakfast cereal. Those are like great examples. Like I see a commercial. Now, the second moment of truth is really, I'm at the store, I'm looking at the counters, I'm seeing, these different boxes of cereal, and I remember that ad, I grabbed that one, great. Like I've made that buying decision. And then the third moment is my experience. Like, oh, it worked awesome. It didn't work awesome. These Cocoa Puffs suck, whatever it is. Like you now have an opinion of the product or service, and that's going to impact whether you are a repeat business or if you're going to refer them out. And that's generally how businesses have always looked at marketing. And now with the introduction of technology, the easy access of information, we all have computers right in our pockets now, and our ability to see other people's input on a business it's literally at your fingertips. And so this zero moment of truth is now not only awareness of a business, because awareness kind of comes in two ways now. It could be advertising. So whether it's like a flyer, traditional advertising, or it could be through generic search. So like, I Google something and I become aware of something, become aware of business. And then obviously ads, like the digital version of that traditional ad would be like your Instagram ads or, social media ads, display ads, things like that. So now we still have this like awareness step. But before now, I go and I make that decision. Like I'm going to buy this laundry detergent. I'm probably going to, go to Amazon and read 15 reviews about it. And if you're anything like me, I always like to read the negative ones first. So I can be like, okay, well, who's shitting all over this and why? And is that going to impact my buying decision? Then I'll read a few of the positive ones and then make a decision whether those are valid or fake or, where I kind of gauge that input. And that happens for all businesses. If you're an attorney, say out there, and you're running PPC ads and you're a 1.5 or like a 2 on Yelp or Google, like you are literally flushing money down the drain, because I'm going to see your ad. I'm going to click on it. If it's not taking me to like a really nice landing page that has only your 5-star reviews on it, and, cross your fingers that I didn't, back out and look at your reviews anywhere, because chances are I'm going to see your business, see your ad. I'm going to Google you. I'm going to see a map pop up. And on that map, it says 2 stars. And right down the street from you, there's another guy, and click on his and it says 3.5 stars. And I'll be like, okay, well, I'm going to go to this guy because obviously this guy's got a better reputation. And especially if I actually read through some of the negative reviews and I don't see anybody responding to them, and I don't see like any engagement from the business, like generally at that point, I'm going to assume as a business, you don't give a shit about your clients, or, I'm not going to have a good experience with you. And so the zero moment of truth is really controlling that emotional response, that impression people have of the business from that research step, now that we have this easy access to information. So that's really what my specialty is in, is making businesses look great online, and then transitioning that into, how to generate more awareness for that business, because if you don't look good, then generating awareness is not necessarily a good thing, because you might be paying ads, directly to send them to your competitor. And that kind of piggybacks right in with our dashboard that we developed and we released about 2 years ago now. And we've also just released a multi-location version of it, which has been really awesome, especially for some of my like retail shops that need to track, reviews by location. This store up here is, 4.5 star. This store is a 3.5 star. Why? Like, what are the reviews telling us? We built some word cloud so I could see, maybe Joe over here in the footwear department has gotten 5 negative reviews, and that's dragging everything down for the entire store. You should probably go have that conversation with Joe. So we built this dashboard that truly like pulls your entire online presence into a single hub. So you can manage your social media in a similar way to like how Buffer or Hootsuite works, where you have a calendar, you could schedule it out. We did some cool partnerships with Pixabay for images, with Tenor for GIFs. We also built in an RSS feed input tool. So say you're a law firm, you could track any news story that comes out about whatever, like maybe your family law. Maybe there's a big family law case or something in a different state or somewhere in your state. You can just click on it, make a comment on that. And then, you didn't have to come up with some cool content for that day. You're just kind of commenting on a story. And so we kind of built in these RSS feeds with it. And then it also tracks all of your business listings, because you'd be surprised how many businesses have like wrong phone numbers, wrong hours, wrong keywords, wrong websites. I mean, it's insane to me how incorrect a lot of the information is for businesses out there.
You'll appreciate this then. We have the small town, right? Like 3,200 people. So we own the only hotel in town. It's 40 units. And then there's 2 motels, right? And one is a full motel with like 8, 10, 12 units. And the other is, we bought it as an apartment, and the city was like, hey, this was zoned as a motel. You got to turn it back into a motel. We're like, okay, cool. So we take it over. And you know how finicky it is to get the stupid Google verification postcard.
Yeah.
So it kept going to like tenants or whatever. Like I could not get it in the hands of my actual management, and you can't change the address or anything. So for like 3 months, we're running this hotel until we finally got it in front of like the right person and got into like cracked the safe. For like 3 months, we're running this stupid hotel or motel, and Google, when you click on Oak Inn in Buffalo, Missouri, Google says permanently closed. And I'm like, oh, come on. Finally we got into it. Now we got it up to, 3.5, 4 stars and climbing and whatever. And it has hours and phone numbers. But like for a solid 3 months, we're like, we got a new sign up and we're trying to get people into here. But like,
I can only imagine foot traffic for hotel motels probably isn't that good.
No, this wasn't even on the strip. It was like, we got no one. Nobody visited. So
yeah,
but it's fixed now. But yeah,
yeah, that stuff is a pain. And I mean, I deal with Google Business Listings. That's literally day one step for us. Is like get these things claimed, get them, great images up. Let's make you look. Because if there was like one piece of advice, like if a business owner had 15 minutes and they're like, I have to do the most impactful thing for my business in 15 minutes, it would be claim your Google and Yelp page and clean them up. Be sure the business information is correct and you got a few images. If you could do that like one thing, you're at least not shooting yourself in the foot. You might not be proactive. Pictures. Yes, good pictures. Yeah. Pay for a photographer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although, I mean, I will say this. I have like a Samsung S21 Plus or something along those lines. Profile, so taking pictures like of an attorney, like if I need something real quick for a website, works pretty awesome. Like you can do some pretty awesome stuff. So you'd be surprised at kind of what you can get away with phones now.
Yeah. It's just weird when you get into like, if you're doing like real estate, because you need like a wide angle lens if you want to actually make everything look decent, right? And the right lighting. And like we took over this hotel and the pictures that were on it were like, well, for one, I had to go into Google and there were like 15 photos that I went into Google and was like, please take this off it's like some dude cooking a steak on a frying pan in the hotel. And I'm like, it was like photo number 2. And I'm like, of course. Like, please get rid of that. Like it doesn't even show the kitchen. It just shows the frying pan. Like, it's like, there were like 3 of them. It was like the same guy, 3 pictures of his steak. And it wasn't even not even a steak worthy of photos,
that's the worst. Yeah, it's pretty mind blowing that businesses are just like, no, whatever's out there is fine. Like,
yeah.
Are you sure? Like that is the first impression people are having of your business is literally like whatever image Bob that visited you 5 years ago decided to throw up there. I think that they're like the people at like Google and Yelp probably have a fun time like deciding what that cover image is. Because if a business doesn't come in there and say, hey, this is the cover image, this is that image, like put them in this order. I mean, they got to have a little fun with it or something like that. And like, let's find the most ridiculous stuff.
Picture of the bathroom. It's like, check out the hotel, and the home photos, the toilet.
Yeah. And it's usually like somebody getting ready to go out. It's like a selfie picture. And that's like on your business page is like,
yeah. or in this case, it's a hotel, 2 generations ago before it was updated. And you're like, the hotel doesn't look like that anymore, which honestly is good for us, but it shows that it does. So
yeah, it's really, really crazy. That is truly like we are digital creatures. Now, all these decisions we make are online. And I mean, I can't tell you the number of times I've walked into, say, like a law firm and been like, wow, this place is super cool. It's like they've got this industrial feel and there's like cool artwork and this like, I'm like, did you guys have like a designer? Like, oh yeah, we had like a professional designer come in and they did this entire interior. So I feel like a cool office. I'm like, there's not a single picture of this place online. Like, you guys have the coolest law firm office I have ever seen. And there's not a single picture online. That's the fun part about the internet is like, you can do all this cool stuff now and kind of broadcast stuff out there. But I guess I'll give you my contact information here because
I was going to say the one question I was going to ask was if you had like, what would be the most impactful thing? And you just answered it with the Google My Business page and Yelp pages. So I think that's huge. Obviously your contact info, but then do you have any resources that you would recommend either on your site or books that you would recommend for anyone who's looking to improve that 0 moment of truth and or online presence in general?
That's a great question. Google released a book about ZMOT. It's about 10 years ago. It's still very applicable today, and it's totally free to download. You just hop online and type Google ZMOT, and the very first thing that comes up is a lot of the resources that they have on it. Obviously, I'm a little partial. My website has tons of blogs and tons of cool stuff. I talk about ZMOT a lot. I do a lot of podcasts. So if you like more of that audio content and kind of concepts to go through and you can deal with listening to me swear and talk about funny stories. I do a lot of podcasts. And then one of the best things that I think businesses can do, and it might be because I'm more of kind of like a hands-on learner and doing things, is take the top 10 ideas that you have of what you would want someone to Google that would be a perfect candidate for your business, and just look at the other businesses. Look at the ones that are on top in SEO and especially on top in the maps. It's not like a secret on how to get up there. Like, you have to have good content. You have to have a nice functioning website. It has to be mobile friendly. You have to get lots of reviews and answer reviews and put lots of pictures up. It's a matter of doing the work. But if you actually go in there and you say like, okay, why is this guy, on top on Google? Why is he on? What are they doing that I'm not doing? There's not some magic bullet. It's literally like you got to put in some work and you got to do it. So that probably would be the biggest resource I would say above anything. Is just be aware, like be a little cognizant of what your competitors are doing and what you're doing and those differences. Pay attention.
I like this. And I'm going to throw out one quick blurb. And then obviously I want you to, plug your website again and your contact info. If you made it all the way through this and you're thinking like, wow, this is great, but I'm a real estate investor, I don't know how this applies. Well, I'll tell you that for my home buying LLC, I 100% have a Google My Business with reviews and a website and page and everything that you can think of, because you will not rank on Google comparatively if you don't have so as a real estate agent, investor, lender, whatever, this is still king. So just want to make sure you guys all know it's applicable.
No, yeah, and I'll speak to that actually real quick too, because I've worked with some realtors in the past, and some of like the independent ones, or they're associated with a Coldwell Banker or some of the bigger companies out there. You're having a personal website for it is great, like it's a nice business card. You could, list some of the properties that you're representing or some of the properties that you're working on. If you're thinking about like SEO, but very, very difficult. I mean, Zillow, the Coldwell Banker sites, the Realtor 21 or Century 21 sites at Realtor.com, like you're never going to rank above them. So thinking from like an SEO content side, you're not going to be in that conversation. Where I would really put most of your focus on is being relatable and being engaging on social media, because that's really the only place where you're on the same level as all those other businesses. Like they can't outpost you. They can't out FaceTime you. They can't, like, that's where you can separate yourself. In the realty business, I've literally turned down SEO for realtors before, being like, it is pointless. You can pay me $2,000 a month. I will never get you to page one. Like, I'm sorry, like just is what it is. And I'd want to be very frank about it. So, but you can get lots of good reviews and you can be super active on social, and a lot of business people are comfortable with that. But if you're going into the realty world, you better get comfortable with it, because there's very, very little as far as outside areas. You're not going to outspend them in paid ads, and you're not going to outrank them in SEO. Yeah. So
focus on the personal brand.
Yep. Yeah. That's the biggest thing that I would push on that end. As far as getting in touch with me, ZMOT expert, that will take you right to kind of the ZMOT section of our website. There's a form on there. You can fill it out. We have our dashboard. We have a free 2-week trial that you're more than welcome to try it out. And we put it at a price point where it's very reasonable for small businesses. That was one of my big things as I was building this, was like, how do I keep something that's very cost efficient? So we offer our dashboard for only $150 a month. So for a business to be able to manage their entire online presence from a single hub, awesome. It's a really, really good value. And we have a lot of clients that just do that. They just use our dashboard. And then we have some clients that we do everything for. So there's also a spot on there to send me your information or book a time to speak with me. If you want me to kind of dig into your business, have my sales team go in there. We provide these snapshot reports, which is cool because it kind of grades you in your industry versus the other businesses out there. It's a great starting point for saying like, oh, okay, cool. So like my business listings aren't horrible, but my reviews suck. Like you at least kind of can get some actionable insights. And so there's an opportunity to sign up just to get a free snapshot report. And then you can always follow us on social. We're pretty active on our social. It is #smart marketing on Instagram. If you just search #smart marketing, we'll come up for just about everywhere. And in most cases, you actually have to write out hashtag because, like our Instagram handle, we can't use the pound symbol or anything like that. So it is hashtag the word.
That's funny.
Yeah. And our traditional website is #smart.com.
Easy. Cool, brother. Hey, Paul, I really appreciate you coming on the show today. This has been fun. I enjoy talking about this stuff. I'm not an expert by any means, but I enjoy dabbling and learning. So this has been good. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. It was a great time. I really appreciate you having me on, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you for listening to another episode about my journey from military to millionaire. If you liked it, be sure to visit FromMilitaryToMillionaire.com/podcast to subscribe to future podcasts. While you're there, we'd love for you to rate the show, give us a review on iTunes. Now get out there and take action.